Hi guys, Sage is here. Oh boy, so we're going to be going over something very fun today. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in because they may have heard about it somewhere. And this is what we call Horse Emblem. And Horse Emblem is something that I've been wanting to do. People have been asking me what's a good team synergy, and I guess, well, if I really wanted to go with the most OP overpowered units in the game, when you know, like, get them all together, this would be it. Horse Emblem is incredibly powerful, and unfortunately it does require a bit of setup, but I figured I would show you the ropes and show you what exactly you would go for if you were to try and build a Horse Emblem team, okay? Alright, so let's just start off with the basics. So, what exactly is Horse Emblem? Well, you can kind of get the idea from the name. It is a whole team made up of Cavalry Units, and just so we're clear, it's not specifically Cavalry Units, it's also specific types of Cavalry Units. Right now I still have all my dragons in there, my flying units, but anyways, I guess we'll just hop right on in. So, Cavalry Units, more specifically tome-wielding Cavalry Units, are what we're looking at, and there's a reason for that. Mostly because this whole build requires two things. One, Cavalry Units that have specific abilities and passives, and two, tome users who can inherit specific weapons. And this is where things get weird, okay? Alright, so I'm just going to show you Leo here. Leo is a nice unit if you do have him. He, of course, has his weapon, Brynhild. It's a great weapon. It's really cool, really easy to use, really fun, but it's not the weapon we're looking for. You see, when it comes down to certain units, we want blade tomes. Now, blade tomes are specific tomes that only come from certain characters, obviously, and also they're restricted to their color spectrum. So there's ones for red units, there's one for blue units, there's one for green units, and these tomes are interesting because what they do is, outside of, you know, slowing special trigger, no biggie, it adds a total bonus on the unit to damage. It adds the total bonuses on the unit to total damage. So, what this does is essentially, if you are to use, like, say, Tharja here, if you buffed her with, say, a Hone or a Fortify, that would then transfer into her bladed weapon here, her blade tome, and then add bonus modifiers to it, a bonus damage, essentially. So to give you an idea, let's say for some reason you have a character who has Hone Speed, I don't know, who's speed, just as a simple example, Hone Speed 1. That's 2 speed, they use it, and then at that point, Tharja gets a bonus damage of +2, not only from her, you know, from her speed, she also gets to go fast, of course, but still, you know, a bit faster, but also gets 2+ bonus damage on her blade tome. Essentially making it so these tome users are all about buffing them and then nuking, which is incredibly powerful, but also quite terrifying in other ways. So, anyways, outside of that, we also need, of course, Cavalry Units, and that's the thing here, okay? So, when you think about tome users and you're trying to build these bladed tome units, horses are probably something that you might want to look into, because infantry units as their own, they don't have a specific buff for themselves. Specialty units, flying, armored, dragon, I guess. I mean, there's one or two of those. And then fly, you know, and then, not flying, and then horses, of course, cavalry. They all have Hone skills that are specific to their specialty units, which is crazy in their own right. And it's not a simple thing, just so we're clear. It's not a simple buff of, oh, hey, it's you know, here's Gunter, just to give you an example, and he has Hone Cavalry. And Cavalry, and this, what this does is it grants an attack and speed bonus of +6 through the next action if the ally is adjacent to them, and of course a cavalry unit. So here's the thing about that. That means, essentially, we also, I believe, where are you? Yagan? Blagan? Jagan? You, sir, he also has Fortify Cavalry. Now, there's also Spurs, and I forget what the other one is, Goad, I think. And honestly, I would say just skip them because this is the meat that we're going for. So, essentially, when you're trying to make a horse team or make a horse unit, that is the horse emblem in this, you can of course have, maybe one melee, but the general idea when it comes to this is to make a team based out of mages that focuses around Fortify Cavalry and Hone Cavalry. And also equip them with bladed, tomes. Now, just so we're clear, when you have a team that is all about this, essentially you line them up in such a way that they both get their buffs on each other, to each other. This is what happens, alright? So, basically, both of those add 6 to their respective things. Hone is attack and speed of +6, and Fortify is defense and res +6. Put them together, that is a mind-boggling +24 damage. That is outrageous. And that is, no matter what, that is +24 damage on that tome. That is a lot of damage. The only problem that really comes with this is that, of course, when you're trying to make this team, you need certain, characters. Generally, you want characters that are of multiple colors that you have. Leo here, of course, we've gone over him before. Brynhild is great, but if I want him to be the horse emblem that we have, the horse emblem participant, I'm going to need to feed him Tharja and give him the bladed tome. So I'm just going to do that when I can, and then from there, he will get the bladed tome. He also has, of course, I also need then to, in case you want to really make the perfect team, I'm saying perfect with quotations here, usually what you're going to want to do is you're also going to want to attach the Fortify skills to them. My build that I'm going for right now, just so we're clear, is Leo with a bladed tome from Tharja. We also have, I believe I have Olwen here. Yep, Olwen with a bladed tome from our good friend and, lovable scamp, Odin, who, of course, I don't know why. And then from there, we will also have Reinhard, who is down here somewhere, who I need to get up to 5 stars. And also, let's see, yep, there's Reinhard. I have 3 of him for some reason. So Reinhard, there you go. But also, for a good green unit, you do need Cecilia, or possibly, I believe, actually no, Ursula I'm fairly sure is blue. But Ursula is a rare unit. If you do have Ursula, she's also pretty nice. I forget what color Ursula actually is, so I do apologize if I get that wrong. It's been a long time since I've actually looked at her, and I don't have her myself. I kind of missed out on that event. But generally, you're going to want to take these units, attach, like for instance, okay, so let's take Cecilia, right? Cecilia, she has Grand Raven, not a bladed tome right from the get-go. The only place you can get that reliably well now is, well, from a little girl named Nino, unfortunately, and you need to feed Nino to, Cecilia to give her that ability. Kind of sucks, but that's just how it goes. And, of course, we've already gone over red. Blue, of course, comes from, Odin. And with this combined effort, you are going to be doing a lot of damage. And then, of course, to make sure that you have a general good idea of units, when it, mixture, you want 2 units that will have Fortify, Fortified Cavalry, and you're going to want to have 2 units that have Hone Cavalry. And then, essentially, you're going to pair them up. They'll both use it on each other, and then, hopefully, you'll be able to buff and get yourselves all the buffs you can possibly get that additional plus 24 damage, and then do a massive, massive amount of damage to your enemy units. This is basically why I think bladed tomes are the most overpowered thing in the game right now, outside of some units, because essentially it allows them to do massive amounts of damage without really batting an eye. Olwen is fast, Reinhard is hard-hitting. If you manage to attach any of these spells and tomes to them, they will do ludicrous amounts of damage if you build the team around them. This is not, unlike, say, trying to build a team that would just buff one unit, this is buffing everyone, in a sense. Not only that, but it's modified in the sense that it's 2 additional buffs at the same time, and then you put them together and it just wrecks. That is why I feel Bladed Tomes in general are a crazy, crazy thing that you should try to... I mean, if you ever have any units that you have a lot of, if you happen to have, you know, your poor man's, you know, Cecilia, she's great at, you know, making your own green tome user. Blue units, Reinhard, and of course, our good friend Olwen. And then, of course, Leo, who, you know, happens to be on a horse and have all these abilities. Of course, Hone Cavalry and things like that only come from certain units. The easiest, of course, are Jagen, or I guess that would be Jagen. Jagen, and where is he? Wow. Oh, there goes my... Oh, okay, cool. That just turned it on. That's fantastic. Yep, that's... Whoops, snafu, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, cool. Now it's doing that thing where... Did you... There we go. I'm sorry about that. Jagen and Gunter are the easiest ones to get it from, and they're generally the best way to do it. And as you can see, when you when you attach this to certain mage units with blade tomes, it's a wash. It's literally a wash. I've seen a picture of Ursula absolutely obliterating a red unit. I mean, you thought, you know, weapon triangle was something that would be, you know, powerful against certain units, yeah, but even then, these units, as they are right now, if you keep them together and buffed, they can not only move fast, they have long range, they will do a lot of damage. Horse Emblem is terrifying if you ever end up in an arena against them. I'm going to try and build a team with that to show you as we go along, but in general, Horse Emblem's scary. And it's also something I really want to do, and probably one of the most overpowered things in the game to date. So that's my basic overview of how Horse Emblem works. People might be like, oh, well, why don't you use Goad and Spur? It's mostly because that does not affect Bladed Tomes. It does buff them in a sense, but honestly, if you were to really do it, just focus on Fortify Cavalry and Hone Cavalry. All around, it's basically about creating your own team. Bring along, if you can't find any other, you know, tome users who can do it, you can always bring along Gunter or Jagen, or, you know, Priscilla, who's a mounted healer. I believe Elise is also as well, you know, and also I think Clarine here? Yep, Clarine is also a mounted healer. You could attach them to these characters as well, you know, and go with that. It's all about what you want to do when you build it. It's crazy. Horse Emblem is terrifying, and that is what I'm going to be doing when it comes down to team synergy. And, you know, these units, if they're properly buffed, can absolutely destroy units that they may even be strong to. The weapon triangle's out the window. These weapons, I feel, need to be nerfed in some regards when it comes down to some units, especially when it comes to horse units, because horse units, when they are made, their BST is not meant to be overpowered. Their movement is greater, so they can go in and attack quicker, but because of that, their stats are overall, in general, a little lower. This basically negates that. Not only that, it pushes them past that point, if you get my meaning. So yeah, Horse Emblem, terrifying stuff. I want to try it. I hope you guys will tune in with me as I build this terrifying team of monsters and see what happens. Huh? Okay, so let's go with it.